Last night on Sunday Night Football, the Bears dismantled the LA Rams. And I'm supposed to sit here and tell you that I have a great amount of fear because the Rams got exposed, right? Kind of got manhandled up front, were unable to run the football. Now, they do get Todd Gurley the ball a lot, and they were unable, because Roquan Smith is so good in space, a new age linebacker, they were unable to create the mismatches they normally create. Take a listen to Sean McVay, who's a little bit robotic and does answer things after loss the exact same way, but listen to some of the things he says within his answers.
All right, first of all, congratulations to Coach Nagy and the Bears. They did a great job tonight, and we didn't do enough to win, and it starts with me. I continually put our football team in bad spots. I thought our defense played well enough, made enough turnovers, and we didn't capitalize on them, but, tip of the cap to Coach Fangio, their defensive staff, their players for executing, and then, really just consistently over and over, I continually put our players in bad spots. Certainly a humbling night, but it's one that you get a chance to look at yourself critically, find a way to get better, move forward accordingly, and that's exactly what we're going to do. That's all I know how to do.
He always takes the blame. Hey, that's my buck stops here. Look, at some point he'll coach long enough to where it'll become super transparent to people, but McVay offers us nothing. When things go wrong, he takes the blame. When things go right, he gives away it's all about our players stepping up and making plays. Ramos, am I right?
You are correct, sir.
If I'm lying, I'm dying. So does that change how I feel about the Rams? No, not really. Nope. I mean, look, the miracle finish in Miami could screw up the entire playoff picture. This is what happened last year. People forget, again, history repeats itself. Last year, all of the losses the Chargers had, and by the way, I think the Chargers have found their kicker with Michael Badgley. You see, he made the longest kick in Chargers history. He made a huge 49-yarder to seal the win, made one right before the break as well. But all of the losses that the Chargers took because of their kicking game and the late collapse by the Baltimore Ravens put the Titans and the Bills in the playoffs. If that doesn't happen, the whole playoffs are different. The Titans and the Bills were not really playoff teams. But because they get in, and then if you remember what happened with the Tennessee Titans? They go and play in Kansas City. Didn't they? Didn't they get a win in Kansas City? Came from behind, end up winning a playoff game against Kansas City Chiefs because that's what the Kansas City Chiefs do every year. Can't spell choke without Kansas City. Anyway, I look at the Dolphins. That Dolphins loss yesterday will change somebody being in the playoffs who is rightfully a playoff team, whether it's a team like the Colts. Remember, the Colts gave away a tie to the Houston Texans early in the season. Then they went down and beat the Texans. The Colts are a better team than the Texans. Their record's not better, but they're a better football team. But they gave away a tie early in the year, and everybody's like, oh, you went for it. Huh? You didn't get it. It was on your own 49-yard line, but you didn't play for a tie, even though a first down wouldn't have given you a win. But you went for it, and that was somehow smart. If the Colts don't get in and the Dolphins do because of that play, it's kind of stuff that throws off the entire equilibrium to the playoffs. Somebody gets essentially a first-round bye playing against the Dolphins on their home field. That's what it is. Whereas the Colts come in on your home field, you're like, dude, they got Andrew Luck, and they got Eric Ebron, and they're pretty damn. They got Andrew Luck. He gives you a fighting chance. But my thoughts on the Rams are this. They're going to play the rest of their games either in L.A. or in the Dome. That's it. If Chicago had a better record, would I be scared to death? Hell yeah. If Green Bay had 2 losses, would I be scared to death? Hell yeah. If the Philadelphia Eagles were really good this year and they had to go into Philadelphia in that hornet's nest in the freezing cold, would I be scared? Hell yeah. And even though New Orleans has beaten them previously and could beat them straight up this year, they could beat them again. New Orleans is the opposite of what the Rams are. The Rams line up in the same formation every time. Same thing every time and run a million different variations. Whereas the Saints line up in a different formation with a different group of players every time and sometimes run the same plays just trying to create a different mismatch. But whether they go to New Orleans or play in L.A., like Jared Goff looked terribly uncomfortable. My wife has been doing this thing, and I don't know if Ramos, your wife, does. Like, she grew up in Oklahoma. Oklahoma does get cold, super cold, windy or whatever, not like frigid. And then we were in Connecticut, and she did not like the cold weather of Connecticut. And so it's been like high 50s at night, and she's acting like our house is an igloo. She got like cranked up to like 68, 69. I'm like, who cares how cold it is? Put on some thick, fuzzy socks, and let's snuggle. But what happens is when you spend a year in L.A., 50 degrees gets cold. 40 degrees, you feel like you're in the Arctic. And 30 degrees, hell has officially frozen over. But the Rams aren't playing in hell the rest of the year. They're playing in L.A. I mean, they got the toughest game they have remaining is the Eagles at home next week. After that, Cakewalk City. So am I a little bit bothered that Jared Goff, when forced to win a game, can't? Sure. Same problem as last year. Do I think they missed Cooper Kupp? Yep, I do. He was better than his replacement, Josh Reynolds. But their all-pro kicker missed an uncharacteristic field goal, probably because it's freaking cold. Their young quarterback, who grew up in warm weather, always plays well in warm weather and doesn't like cold weather, played poorly because it's cold. And they lost to a really good team with a really good front seven by 9 points. So I'm supposed to freak out here, but the realist in me says, don't have to go to Chicago anymore.